what are the key differences between a good player and a great player?
I'm looking forward to it.
Enjoy. Whew. Guys, we are back at the wonderful Borderland State Park in Massachusetts. Of course, still I have a couple more days before I head out to Vegas, and we are here with Noah from Daily Disc Golf YouTube channel. He's been running that for years.
Yeah, 3 years now.
Yeah, he's racking up subscribers now, so go check out his channel for sure. And today we're gonna do an interesting video. What is the difference between a good player and a great player? 975 rated, super solid, good player. I mean, most players probably wish they would ever go over 970. And 1040 rated player. What are the key differences? What's his opinion on that? What's my opinion on that? Enjoy. We just had a great round of 18 holes, and I'm not gonna spoil who won or what happened, but go check it out on his channel, Daily Disc Golf. It was definitely a fun round and fun battle. Okay, so what is the difference between good and great? What is the difference between a high 900 rated player and a 1000 rated player, or even a 1030 plus rated player? The number one thing that comes to my mind is consistency. How many times in a row can you pull off a shot that you're trying to pull off? I mean, if you're high 900 rated, you have most of the shots. You can throw most shots that I can throw. Of course, there's slight differences here and there, but you obviously know how to play. So the main difference is consistency.
One of the biggest things for me is watching Simon play. Like he said, he's executing the exact shot that he's looking to execute almost every single time. And when you're a 1040 rated player and you have a shot in mind that you want to throw, you're pretty much skilled enough to hit that shot 99% of the time. And when you don't hit that shot, you can kind of see what you did wrong and kind of adjust from there. But someone like me, there are sometimes a couple holes in a row where I'll see the shot that I want to hit and I'll envision it, I'll be really confident, but I just will miss the line, or I have maybe chose the wrong disc. And maybe the last round that I played, I hit that line perfectly, and the next round I played, I just didn't hit that line. So that's kind of what I think he means by consistency, and you'll be able to see that in the full round footage of both of us for sure.
Yeah, and like, what do you think is like the, like why can I hit more consistent lines? Like, what are you missing? Are you missing just practice? Are you missing mental game, or what is it?
I think it's probably partly mental game, because at a point in our round you had said that you've been playing for upwards of 20 years and everything is nearly dialed in for muscle memory, and you can really dial in like that small mistake and figure out what you need to change. But for me, I think it's a little bit mental, because if I am at a shot and I hit that line perfectly the last time I was there, all I'm thinking about is that last time I hit it. I'm not necessarily thinking about how I can hit it perfectly this time. So sometimes I'll compare my shots to perfect shots that I had in previous rounds without like really focusing on throwing the line that I have in front of me. I'll be thinking too much about the last time I played that hole.
Yeah, and I think that brings us great to the next point, which I think confidence. I think obviously if you are highly rated and you've been doing it for a long time and you've played a lot of tournaments, confidence and experience kind of goes hand in hand. One thing that I think Paul McBeth does better than any other player is kind of like an unconditional confidence. Like, no matter what happens, no matter how he's feeling, he's confident that he's gonna throw the next shot perfect. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed in my game myself, I mean, I'm probably better at it than most people, but I've noticed that it's one of my weaknesses, that I sometimes lose confidence. And once you lose confidence, gaining back confidence, I think that is the trick. That's the hard part of disc golf, of golf in general. And I think that separates a high, like a 1000 rated player through a high 900 rated player, is the ability to gain back confidence.
Yeah, and a good example of that will be from our round that we played earlier. I have never played with someone that's 1040 rated, and definitely not someone of Simon's caliber. So I was nervous like anybody else would be. And of course we're both filming, and the jitters and the nerves happen. And being a 975 rated player, maybe if I was 1005, I'd be able to really hone in and just be confident in my skill a little bit better than I was to start our round, because I was a little bit nervous, and it took me, you know, probably almost through the whole front nine to really gain my grips and really get that confidence back where I'm hitting my putts and stuff. And that confidence really translates to the putting green. If you're not confident on the putting green, and if you're nervous, and if you're more trying to conserve the miss instead of focus on the make, then I think you're going to be in a world of trouble. And for a little while there, when I was putting, I was trying to conserve the miss. I didn't want to miss and go 20, 30 feet long and then miss my comebacker again. So that took the confidence out of my putting stroke. And towards the end there, I really just said, screw it, I'm going to start putting with confidence. And I started sinking them.
I really like a phrase that my dad always used to tell me. In golf, it's not about staying out of trouble, it's about how you get out of trouble. And during the round, we actually had some pretty great examples of that too, that everyone will get in trouble. So trying just to avoid all the trouble doesn't work. And I think pro players and 1,000+ rated players are just extremely great at recovery shots. It's really important and key to look at every option, think about all the shots you have, everything a disc can possibly do, different disc selection. One thing I've noticed when I first started touring is that all these American pros, which was for me like so much better than I was back then, after every bad shot they would throw the sickest recovery shot I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the more I play with these guys, I've noticed that on myself, that after I throw a bad shot, I usually throw a great shot. And that's also, of course, a mental trick. If you know that about yourself, you know after you kind of shanked one, you're gonna have a great recovery. And you gotta throw bad shots to make great putts, so that's also a fact. Yeah, what do you think about the experience and the recovery shots?
I think that those are two great points. And the experience in tournaments, when you're in a tournament setting, experience definitely comes into play. For me, I work weekends. It's hard for me to get Saturdays and Sundays off, so it's hard for me to work. It's hard for me to play in those 8 to 10 to 12 to double-digit tournament seasons for me because I work weekends in the summer. So I can never really build that tournament consistency. When I find myself playing a tournament every weekend or a tournament every other weekend, then I can get into that competitive groove and I don't have those really hard nerves before every round. But if you're only playing one tournament every month or every month and a half, every time you go to start that tournament, you're going to have those same nerves and same jitters. So keeping that consistency in the tournament scene will definitely help keep the nerves down in the tournaments. As for scramble shots, honestly, I've always thought of myself as a great scramble player. I lean on my flick all the time. I'm 6'5", so I can always lean one way, and I could put my foot somewhere and have my flick all the way straddled out to like an 8-foot wingspan, where some people can't do that.
Yeah.
And so having my wingspan and my flick definitely helps with my scramble game. And you touched on it perfectly. People from New England, there's so many trees out on these courses. There's not a lot of park golf around here, so we know how to get out of trouble, and that's just something that New England golfers have learned.
Saving par is a huge deal.
It really is.
In golf.
Yeah.
And you could tell that even if I didn't throw a great tee shot, that I most of the time was able to save my par, where you were sometimes struggling to save your par.
Yeah.
And yeah, circle one putting is, guys, this is something everyone has heard. Drive for show, putt for dough. And it's so true. Just like in golf, putting is where everything happens. I mean, I can throw further than most people in the world, but it just doesn't win you tournaments, ever. So,
yeah, but I can tell you
putting.
from watching his putting during the round that we just played, it's not just circle one putting, it's having confidence from really anywhere within 50 that even if you miss, you're going to hit the comebacker. And that comebacker is usually going to be in circle one. And that's kind of like what he's touching on here. There were plenty of times today where Simon's just running it because he knows that it's not going to roll out of circle one, and his percentage inside circle one is ridiculous. So even if he runs something from 80, it's going to come in, it's going to settle. If it's anywhere within circle one, he has a full confidence mindset that he's going to hit that putt. So that gives you confidence to then run the putt before that too.
Yeah.
Whereas with me, I'm like lofting my circle two putts because I don't want to roll away and go 30 feet because I don't know if I'm going to have the confidence to hit that 95% of the time like a 1040 rated player. I'll sometimes go a month without taking out my practice basket and go practice putting. I'll just play, and sometimes I'll be like, oh, this is a practice round, but really you need to hit the field, you need to hit the practice basket, you need to work on your upshots, you need to work on the flaws in your game. And so one of the things for me is I have no excuse that I can't practice at least once a week. I work nights at least 3 times a week. I'm free all day during the day. Even if I come out and play a round, I should still just after the round or before the round practice for 20 to 30 minutes, whether it be putting or upshots or really whatever I need to work on. So for me, getting into a more consistent practice regimen is going to be huge. And if I can, like I touched on earlier, if I can get my Saturdays off, or if I can negotiate to get Sundays off, then I can get myself in a routine where I'm playing 12 to 14 tournaments this year, and that will really, really help with my confidence, not being so nervous going into every tournament.
The practice doesn't happen on the course. I've said this before. Practice happens on the field, and when I play this course, you might have noticed I use like 5 discs maybe.
Yeah.
5, and that's most courses, honestly. Most courses, all the rest of the discs in my bags are backups, or some funky courses need some shot here and there, but learn your discs, and you don't learn your discs on a course, you learn your disc on the field, and then everything comes down to putting. If you can be confident, it'll change everything.
Seriously. So a question that I have for you is it worth it to do that 1 or 2 like major travels, even if you're like an AM1 player or like a low pro player and you don't feel like you can compete with some of the top pros that will be playing at those events? Do you think it's like worth the travel and the expenses for that experience?
I definitely recommend anyone that I ever meet. Travel is the greatest thing. I mean, if you stay inside the United States, that's fine, but if you make it to Europe, or if you have a chance to go to Asia or Australia, whatever, do it. It's so worth it. It'll like just open your mind to so many different cultures and things that you didn't even think about in your home state. So
yeah, I've heard some top players say that they don't really want to play in the C-tier events because it's harder to score their rating compared to playing in these national tour events.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and it is somewhat true. I think it's always funny that people always say that they don't care about rating, but at the end of the day, kind of everyone low-key cares about their rating. I feel like the more 1,000 rated player are at an event, the easier it'll be to shoot a 1,000 rated round, because if one of the great players shoots a bad round, that'll automatically make every other player rated higher. So anytime Macbeth shoots a bad round, suddenly shoot like a 1050, 1060 round, even though we didn't feel like we played a phenomenal round. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I don't honestly really understand the math behind it. Definitely, it wouldn't stop me from playing local events. What stops me from playing local events is kind of my travel schedule, and that it's very easy to get burnt out if you play tournaments every week, and film vlogs, and practice.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when I have an off week and then when I'm at home, I really like to just sit back and take a weekend off. Just also for my body and for my mind, it's really important, because at the end of the season, you don't want to be hating disc golf. You want to be loving it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I think this sums it up. Thanks to Noah. Go check out his channel. The round we played, it was pretty awesome.
It's going to be a really fun watch.
Yeah, I played a new layout for me at Borderlands. That was a great time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you get some field work done and don't just practice on the course, but if you want to do that, then do that. And thanks for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.
See you guys.